As I was settling in for the evening to continue working on the outlines for the podcast, I happened across a scrap of paper on my desk that had a bunch of items scrawled onto it for me to respond to. What I'd like to do tonight is wrap up the last of the open conversations from the network engineer on server meshing videos. It's actually working out very well as I need to test some changes I've made in my recording setup. Two birds and all of that. I'm going to include chapters. I'd encourage you to skip to the sections that interest you. If none do, then I appreciate your having stopped in. First, we'll discuss the iPhone moment comment I made in that first video. Then, I'd like to go back and finish addressing the TCP windowing conversation. We'll also take a moment to respond to a comment on SSL that I saw. At the end, I'd like to give you all a heads up on what my plans are for responding to things like the roadmap and various SIG communications. My plan is for this to be the last video in the server meshing series, and I wanted to get that all done before the podcast teaser drops. In my very first video, I made a comment about CIG having the chance at an iPhone moment. I didn't add context to that, so I'd like to do so now. To me, an iPhone moment isn't a revolution. It's that moment that comes to define a rapid leap forward in technology. The iPhone actually had very little new in it, unlike the Palm Pilot, the BlackBerry, etc. What the iPhone did was become the representation of an era, that final, this is what we've been heading to moment. I think of it like that because honestly, the iPhone we have today may be bigger, faster, has a better screen, everything about it is refined. But what was the last truly innovative idea that was added? Apple's amazing at taking tech and making it easy to consume, but they wait until all of the inventions and the fast-moving FOMO is burning down into embers. Then they sweep in, do a mic drop moment where all the cool becomes part of the culture and our day-to-day lives. They haven't had a big win like that since the iPhone. Perhaps the Vision will be the next. Only time will tell. In the latency video, I mentioned TCP windowing, and I've been spending time running Wireshark and Star Citizen so I can get some traffic dumps. See what's going on. Obviously, the data is encrypted, so I'm not even going to bother trying to look inside the packets. But I have to admit that the commenters were, in fact, correct. I'm not going to get too far into this, as those protocols, they'll come up in the podcast for people who are interested. But I did want to give a tip of the hat and acknowledge that they were in fact correct. There were a few comments and some heated direct messages in Discord about the network traffic of Star Citizen. I get it. People are frustrated. I understand and share the desire for things to get better. I do believe we are about to see a huge year, but when it comes to encryption, this is just not a factor. We can run SSL at line rate with ease these days. It doesn't even cause much load to do so. And I'd be shocked if the servers are getting close to line rate on their network ports. I'm all for encryption if it causes cheaters even the slightest level of effort. So, to me, this is just a non-issue. Moving forward, I'm going to be watching all the CIG communications more closely. If I feel that I can add context or value to something that comes out, be it the roadmap updates or a Star Citizen Weekly, I'll be sure to get something posted as quickly as I can. However, there's a lot going on, and I don't just want to respond to everything for the sake of it. If you all see something that you would like me to respond to, I'll be publishing a Discord server with the podcast teaser this weekend. Feel free to drop by and let me know. I really don't want to just be out there filling up feeds to get views. So I'm looking for those who are interested and want my take on something to help me curate the content for the main channel. One more note. The name of the podcast has changed to Network Sagas Gaming. I did this because I've been pondering doing a long series of videos on the internet's evolution from the point of view of an insider. Stories, culture, tech, and an honest assessment as where we, as the generation that built the bloody thing, went wrong, and where we got it right. I'm not going to entertain serious thought about that content until I get much further down the road. The name change is simply so I have the option later to produce content and not be cluttering one podcast with all the different topics that people might or might not be interested in. Well, that's that. The final network engineer on server meshing content I'll be posting until we get some new news or we learn more about what's happening. Please like if you think I deserve it, and subscribe if you would like to be notified when the podcast plans are announced and things kick off. Thank you.